And welcome back. Today we are going to be taking a look at the Tornado Gr.1. And yes, we are going to be taking it out as a fighter. And I know, before you lose your tits, I know its intended role is to use it as a high or low altitude fast bomber. The issue is, it's one, not very fast, and secondly, when you're stuck, well, you don't have any bombs to begin with. So you are forced to take it out as an air-to-air fighter. Unless, of course, you want to go and start strafing pillboxes. But those are always in the middle of the map, and that's just asking for trouble. When you stalk, you also won't have chaff and flares, so you're just gonna get shot down by an R27 across the map. I don't recommend it. Normally when I call a vehicle bad, there is at least something good about them. I've flown a plethora of bad aircraft. As a fighter, I know that's not their intended role, but if you look at my about page on my YouTube, you know exactly why we are discussing this thing as a fighter. The Milan was at least quick. The Saab 105 at least climbed well. The S199 at least had good guns. The Mirage F1C at least had decent missiles. They all had something about it that at least made it work. This thing, however, has basically nothing going for it other than the guns itself and the wing sweep. The issue is the guns themselves are actually almost impossible to aim because of the rudder. The rudder is almost the size of my city, and sure, my city isn't very big, but for a plane's rudder, that's pretty massive. The flare pods are on the outside of the wings and you definitely feel the performance in terms of rolling. I'm not sure if it's modeled when you put them on or not, but it feels very wonky to fly, and you'll see plenty of this throughout this video. But really, this plane is a sad heap of shit. The AIM-9Ls are pretty good. We all know the AIM-9Ls. They don't ignore flares as much as they once did, but they're nerfed a little bit close to be the like the R60M. I still think that the R60M isn't really capable, but I will make another MiG-29 video very soon here to cover that topic. And no, that plane isn't bad, you can stop coping about it. But a few things before we get started today. Thank you to all my YouTube members as well as my Patreons and everyone looking to buy this absolutely amazing decal. You can do it down below, you get a discount, you get a decal with any purchase you make throughout the link. And then lastly, a good friend of mine needs to tell you something. Yes, hello. Tornado here. I am really bad, so just keep me in the hangar. Really, it's no issue at all. Save your sanity. It's much more important than flying me stock. Thank you. Back to the video now. So, how do we fly this thing? Well, first of all, you want to be never on the defensive, because you are an absolute rat mobile if you want to survive. Missile starts coming in, we notch it, we go low, we dodge the missile, and we start preemptively slowing this plane down. So we are slower, we are in these rolling scissors, and he will eventually overshoot because he's carried. So you just want to kind of come in from the flank, you want to make sure you are second row. And I try to come from the angle that the airfield is at. So I basically circle all the way around the map and then try to pick off some stragglers, shoot AIM-9Ls at people, and try to get, well, double kills. Because, well, more than that you're not very likely to ever get. Today we actually are going to be getting an ace, but it's an absolute freak show. And I'll show you it at the end. AIM-9L, he doesn't flare it properly, and it tracks his engines and blows them up. We now have 1 kill, and our game impact is almost 0. That's the main issue with this thing. You have to play it so passively, and you have to make sure that you come in at such opportune times that you end up just waiting too much. But if you try to force it and try to make a play earlier than you can, in this plane that actually means that you're doing it earlier than you can. You are not going to be able to make plays in this thing unless the enemy is completely disabled. So why am I showing you this clip right here? We're going head on with an F4E, and I want you to look at my cursor, my rudder, and me trying to line up my guns. Look how bad that is. These guns are almost impossible to line up, especially at higher speeds. At very low speeds the rudder is actually kind of okay, but at these speeds it's something else, and I don't think showing you will really convey just how annoying it is. If you've actually flown this thing out, if you've actually tried hitting things, you know just how painful it actually is. I was gonna say another word there, but then we're gonna get demonetized, and we don't want that now, do we? That R24 was definitely on a mission, and he almost curved back in to actually kill us. And because there are gonna be a lot of jump scares today, you're probably going to be expecting it. Not this time, however, because we are actually going to prop. And again, we just come in from the back row. We lock people up. Shoot the first one. I'm not gonna shoot a missile on the second. Missiles in the air. We change over to the next target and we spray him down. The reason I didn't shoot a second missile there because, well, I've already shot it earlier in the match. The MiG-27 is going to be dying. We get a little bit of a double kill. And now, what do? Well, if that MiG-29 does not get distracted, we are going to have a little bit of an issue. And the MiG-29 is definitely committed to trying and go for us today. Why is that? Well, I can give you an idea. I've been focused a hell of a lot. And it's not because who I am, it doesn't matter what squadron I'm in, it doesn't matter. You are in a tornado, people think it's a free kill. And well, people think, right, this thing is extremely easy to kill. We flare the first missile, a little bit of a side aspect. You really do not want people to shoot missiles at you in the rear aspect. Because you can tell, I'm 1130 degrees Celsius hot. And that's not even taking into account that it has an afterburn on top of it. So we go vertical with this MiG-29. We pull with him for a little bit. We stay with him for a little bit. And then he breaks off. And he's just instantly almost 2 kilometers away. So don't even try these maneuvers. It's not going to work out in your favor. But really try to deny as many rear aspect launches as humanly possible. Because you have to really work your ass off. And if you don't, well, they are going to be shooting it off for you instead. And as you can tell, that MiG-29 was really on a mission to get that aspect in. Unfortunately for us, there is going to be a second guy coming in from the side. So again, we try to slow down a little bit. We go into these rolling sits. Let's try that again. We're coming in again from the second row. We're locking up the F4E. I have a very big suspicion that he is not going to be looking behind him. He does flare a little bit, but not that much. But he didn't turn his afterburners off in time. And he is nicely going to be meeting that missile. Second missile out, MiG-21 bis, doesn't see it, collects it as well, and down he goes. MiG-21 is now on R6, and he's going to be launching some missiles at us. And these are R60s, mind you. Well, I want you to look at just how amazingly hot these engines are. You saw how many flares are just dumped, and those are just R60s, and they're not that easily spoofed even in this thing. So we turn around, and we start rushing towards the 2 F4s that are directly ahead. We are now on the 6 of a MiG-23 ML, but we also have an F14 with us to help and assist us. We spray him down completely, and he is going to be burning up. That's the issue with these guns. Very often you'll find that, well, you're going to down people, but then it likes to get stolen. Because, well, they're not actually dead. SPS comes in and I need to zero throttle here. I need to air brake. I need to slow down as much as humanly possible. I'm going to try to stay above his nose. He almost gets reversed, but luckily this time we didn't actually need to do it. Here we are again with a MiG-29 on our 6. And the MiG-29 just does everything we do, but better. Much better actually. And it's going to be a little bit of a rough fight. We get out of his guns, overwall completely, and I'm not able to capitalize on the fact that, well, he overshot a little bit. And he goes straight vertical. He doesn't try to pressure me. He doesn't try to get an angle on me. And he just gives me his ass. So I'm going to try to shoot an AIM-9L at him in the hope that it goes through the flares. It does not. And now we are on the guy 6 somewhat. I probably could have hit that. Pretty hard shot with this thing. And it doesn't matter because we don't actually connect it anyway. I notice that he's just going to start pulling vertical. I'm not going to be following that. There is no use in me doing so. So I'm just going to break off and he can come back down on me. And we just start from 0 again. So what do I do here? I pull in a little bit. Make sure that he doesn't get a rear aspect launch yet again. And I just want to make sure that I actually time this properly. And make him compress into the ground. I notice that he's somewhat pulling off. So we pull back right into him. And we get a crit. We don't actually damage him too severely. That's also nothing on the bottom right there. And I'm going to try to energy trap him. I'm using my flaps somewhat. These are the forward facing slats. And look at that. He is just turning into me like nothing else. So again, I have to break off and I have to try to redo it again. But the issue is he's probably not going to fall for it. Luckily, he doesn't need to, because he's going to end up succumbing to a head-on with a MiG-21. So, a few games later, we come in on the deck here. F14 is kind of spooking me out here, because I do not want him to go head-on with me. But it looks like he's actually going for someone else. He's probably zoomed in or something, because he just doesn't see the missile coming in. And he meets my boomstick. We then try to turn around and pressure the guys that are on the 6 of my friendly. And I'm trying to fully pull here, and I'm just maintaining Mach 0.92. It does retain its energy quite nicely, but it also has a turning circle. Again, the size of my city. Still not a big city, but it's still a pretty big turning circle. So we're now flying after these two guys, and I probably should have gone for the F-16 first, but I noticed that the F-4J is much closer, and he's actually pressuring my tornado. And we are kind of each other's lifeline right now. I don't want to give away my position too quickly, so I start holding the trigger down once I get a really good shot. And then I dive on the F-16, and I can catch the F-16 here. I'm gonna be diving on him, but I need to make sure that I don't overshoot here because I need to stay on this guy's ass. And look at that turning circle. I need to kind of slow down. I need to make sure that I don't compress. I'm trying to cut in behind him, but he just keeps turning. He just keeps slamming on that elevator, and then he just leaves. He goes straight, he goes back to the runway, and we can do nothing about it. So last game here, we're gonna get a nice little 5 kill. A little bit lucky, a little bit of a freak show, but hey, I got it, so I'm going to show it. And yes, this game is completely cherry-picked, because my experience in this thing, well, if the video wasn't clear enough, was absolutely abysmal. So, who is the next victim here, other than us, that has to fly this thing? The T2 here is going pretty slow. I'm not sure if he's completely out, but he's going head on with someone. I'm going to try to cut him off, but he gets slammed by the F4 on our way towards the target. We then just keep flying straight. There's a MiG-23 ahead of us, and he's not going very quick either. And that first missile is not going to be chasing or not going to be reaching him. He's turning in now. Not too sure what is wrong with this guy. He looks to be afterburning. He looks to be somewhat okay. Maybe he was just trying to get his energy back. I'm not sure. He doesn't look damaged. But after that merge, I decide to drop my fuel tanks. And we are just going to send it in this fight. Luckily, he needs to break off and go head on with someone else. So I'm going to lock him up and shoot an A9L from the somewhat rear aspect, and I'm expecting him to not actually flare that. He doesn't, and he goes back to the hangar. So we turn around, we go towards the middle of the map, and there's 3 F5Cs here. Not exactly a fun fight, but we can learn some things about this vehicle from it. F5C above us, we are going to be very easily outrunning him, but he gets too much position, and I'm not about to meet my maker. So I simply turn out a little bit, make him do a full 180 as well. He's not taking it. He's going to continue on for my squad mate there, my random squad mate. And we are in the clear for now. I just want to make sure that I stay about Mach 1. Not that you can actually drop below it if you try. But I want to make sure that these F5s do not start randomly catching me. Luckily, these are all F5Cs, so I can actually somewhat maneuver with them. In the sense that I can drain them of their energy once I get them slow. I cannot maneuver with these things in the slightest when it comes down to actually trying to dogfight them. F5Vs on the other hand are a much bigger issue because they have the engine power to stay with you a lot easier. Notice the F5C, we pull inside of a turning circle and we just leave the area again because, well, that's what you have to do. You kind of play this thing like a tornado. You come in, you wreak some havoc, and then you just leave. The issue is that unlike actual real tornadoes, you don't wreak any havocs and you just come in and then leave. At least most of the time, unless you have A9Ls. Shield 13 crashes in the meantime. I managed to get a hit in early game. And he actually goes down. Took a while though. And then we turn around and there's 3 guys ahead of us. And I can say I can try to fly away from that, but I'm not going to be doing that. Because I need to engage these people. I cannot wait too long. I cannot wait for my team to simply die. I need to put the pressure on. And I'm running dangerously low on fuel now. I'm running half afterburner. You do that by going to 100. Then scrolling up your scroll wheel once. Uses a little bit less fuel, but this thing keeps the speed nice enough. We go head on, we kind of trade. He hits our wingtip, it doesn't do major damage, so it's somewhat okay. The other F5 on the 6 is not engaging us just yet, so we can continue on to go for the 2 guys that are flying away from us. So we are going to go and get 2 nice rear aspects. Going for the first guy, he's a little bit closer, but he pulls out of the way and I'm not going to be following him. This guy, however, looks to be very, very slow. We pull in, we set him on fire. And he is going to be kissing a tree in a second. He goes down. And then both of them go RTB. So do I. And here we are again. The same 2 F5s from earlier. And we're now going to be trying to kill them. As they are busy with something else. The F5C, however, is actually looking behind him. Or he has flare profile on. And he just got kind of lucky. I don't know. Try to lead the shot. But this gun is just not... The guns are fine. They're pretty damn quick. They hit pretty decent. The issue is they're just almost impossible to aim. I start pulling in behind the F5, I drop my fuel tanks and look how late that F5 pulls in. He was constantly going for the guy that he was chasing just now. And even though he did it last second, he almost managed to get the shot in. The issue is, there is a second F5C somewhere around. And right now, I have no idea where he actually is. So I do want to be somewhat careful because I'm not about to throw the game against these last 2 guys. I turn around now, I'm starting to put more pressure on this guy. And try to get him slow. Maybe my teammate can clean him up. He's another F5. And then it's going to be 2v1 at the end. Would be great. F5 here is going to be flaring the A9E. No big deal really. And now he's going to be in a dogfight. I'm waiting for him to turn. So I see that he's actually engaged in the fight. He's not looking behind him. And it looks like that first time he flared, it was actually the flare profile. I pull in here. The guy in the chat is modding as per usual. He's calling me a boom and zoom loser, like I'm supposed to dogfight him in a tornado. But you know, you do you, El Bozo. So we turn into the F5, almost get a shot in, don't manage to connect it just yet. And we try to turn behind the F5 here. And now, I mean, it's a matter of cleaning up. It's 3v1, and this guy is completely boxed in. I'm on the right back, F4 on his left back, F5C in the head-on. He dodges the first missile, he manages to flare it, roll out of the way. And this F5 is definitely going to reverse the F4. The issue is the F4 then rips his wing off. And I'm just gonna sit on this guy's ass, because I'm not gonna let this go too prolonged. And I managed to get some shots in. We then go up and vertical. And because I'm really looking to get an ace in this absolute heap of shit of a plane, I mean, I'm going to try to secure it. I'm gonna say he's dead. And he is. I mean, let's be honest, this guy is completely messed up. And I just want the ace. That's it. I want the ace in this absolute abomination of a vehicle. The F5 is reeling him in. And I'm just feeling bad. And this might be a little bit of a plot twist. But he gets absolutely shredded apart by the F5 now. And you know how it works. If you get crit and someone else hits you afterwards, the other guy is probably going to get the kill. Which is very unlucky. Luckily for us, this time we actually managed to get somewhat lucky in this thing. Absolute joke of a match, but I hope you enjoyed it nonetheless, at least more than I did flying it. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all tomorrow or the day after in the next video.